you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our latest things that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show. It's a family that loves you and brings on the most wonderful guests, minds, people who share their stories, their journeys of life, and all the things that can make your life better, entertain you. And if you're not entertained, damn it, we'll see the box office for a receipt because the show's free, damn it. What do you want from us? Jesus, people. 16 years, 2,400 episodes, we've been bringing the Chris Voss Show, and we're just going to keep bringing you more because we're out of work and we live in a van down by the river. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today's featured author comes to us from bookstolifemarketing.co.uk. With expert publishing to strategic marketing, they help authors reach their audience and maximize their book success. Anyway, we have an amazing gentleman on the show, and he is not out of work and doesn't live down by a van in the river like I do. He is a novelist who has written his book August 29th, 2024. It is called The Color Cult. John Martin Tilley joins us in the show. We're going to get into it with him, some of his insights and some of the work and art he does with his life. The Color Cult is written by John Martin Tilley. He was born and raised in Kearney, Nebraska. Did I get that right, John? Did I pronounce that right?
That's Kearney, but it's weird. Yeah.
There you go. Kearney, Nebraska. I learn new things on the show every day. He is the editor-in-chief of Humphrey Magazine, a magazine of decadent whimsy. And now I'm hungry for dessert. Anytime I hear the word decadent, I think of, some sort of dessert. Anyway, John, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Give us your .coms. Where do you want people to get to know you better on the interwebs there in the sky?
Oh, my main one would probably be humphrey.magazine.com. That's my big one. And yeah. I guess that's pretty much it.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your new book?
The book. Okay, The Color Cult. It is about a guy who kind of goes crazy and becomes known as the crime artist in Lincoln, Nebraska. And he is doing these sort of weird, crazy, like performance art pieces that are they're crimes, but they're performance art pieces. So like he'll, instead of robbing the bank, he'll blow up a can of paint in the bank vault or something like that are like these weird crime statements. And then he meets this pair of weirdos kind of, and it's this girl and then this kind of this androgynous gay guy who work at this gas station, and he goes in to rob the gas station. They want to join his cause. And he's like, no, it's my thing. Leave me alone. And he's kind of happy, and yeah. And they slip a lit cigarette down the gas nozzle and blow up the gas station. And they've now joined his cause, and they're sort of running from the police and figuring out their next move. And that's sort of the snowball that rolls down the hill that is the novel. So that's how I always describe it. Tell the initial setup.
It sounds like a fun storyline, kind of everything and anything, and lots of crazy people, because those make for great characters, I suppose, right?
Yeah, it's kind of. I wrote it in sort of a mad dash when I first moved to New York City, and it became this sort of homage to Nebraska. So it was sort of like all these little funny characters that are existing in the world of Nebraska, which is ultimately like cars and Walmart parking lots, and it's just it was funny moving to New York. I ended up writing this homage to Nebraska, but I had been writing it for a long time anyway, so it was just the last draft I had written.
There you go. Well, I don't know how rural Kearney is, but I know parts of Nebraska are pretty rural. That must have been quite the maybe culture shock move from there to New York, maybe.
Yeah, well, I always tell people I had lived in other countries before, so I had taught English as a foreign language way back. And I was just like, well, New York is still the United States, and it's not a whole nother culture, so you don't have to learn a new language. So it was like, it's still the United States. Yes.
Wow. There you go. Well, I guess it is still here. There you go. So you write the book, and how long did it take you to write it?
It's funny. I wrote it throughout my 20s. I started it when I was probably 19 or 20 years old. And then by the time I had finished it, I was probably 28 or 29. So it took about 8 years to write. Wow. And it was a funny period because I had to sort of work in smartphones into the narrative, because during that time we went from flip phones to smartphones. It was a very strange transition. And then it's even reading it now, it's an homage to Nebraska, but it's also sort of an homage to the early 2000s and like existing in a world before smartphones, which is very weird to say, but it was just like, well, it was just different. And I kept having to edit the book to fit the time because I wanted it to be current. But even after all the edits, it was like, well, I don't know. And the inclusion of this character that was very androgynous sort of preempted this whole non-binary idea. And it was like, if I were to go in and edit it even further, I would probably have to make this person non-binary. But I was just like, how many edits can I make? It was very strange. And it was less of a political thing with the non-binariness. It was more of an aesthetic thing of this person who, I was playing with drag and I was playing with gender myself. And I just heard there was this really interesting controversy at the time around this model named Andrés Pajic, and he was this incredible model, but he was walking in all the women's fashion shows, and he was just beautiful. But he was walking as a woman, and fashion has always loved androgyny. And Andrés Pajic appeared on the cover of a magazine, and Barnes and Noble said this needs to be in a black cover. This is pornography, because he was in full makeup as a woman but was shirtless. And it was very confusing. So it inspired this whole character. And I would honestly argue that was really probably one of the beginnings of this whole non-binary conversation that we're now having, with that controversy with that magazine, because the fashion world was playing with that for a long time. And anyways, I sort of just made that into a character. I said, what if this person existed in Nebraska in the middle of, you know what I mean? Like working at a gas station, like what would that look like? And then it sort of folded into this whole contemplation of art and aesthetic and image and, beauty, et cetera, and all of that. How does that all fit into the Midwest? I don't know.
There you go. Now, I don't know if, sometimes in novels we can't give away too much of them because we want people to buy the book and read them. They're not like a historical novel or kind of knows how it ends. But where can you disclose to us where the title, The Color Cult, maybe means, or what it alludes to? Well,
you have those three characters that are sort of bound together from this initial sort of crazy, they blow up this gas station, they're on the run. And there is a sort of instance where, the big question of the book is, how do they get around? Because they end up crashing their car, and the one character goes she's trying to help the cause, and she goes to the Walmart parking lot, and she just starts, checking to see if the cars are unlocked, and she ends up getting this car, and there's a little kid in the back seat. And it becomes this very weird, whimsical thing where she convinces him that she's a fairy and all this stuff. But he ends up being like, oh, so you guys are kind of like a cult almost. Like you want to bring color and art and beauty to this very drab world of the Midwest where nothing is very colorful. I mean, to this day. So it's sort of it derives from that. It's kind of a joke in a way. But yeah, it's this idea of being in this sort of cult, but it's sort of just the funny little, the group that, and it's kind of a moniker from this precocious child. There you
go. Well, it makes for an interesting cover.
Yes, I actually shot the cover myself.
Oh, did you?
That is, yes, I did a lot of it myself. I shot the cover. That's my friend's niece, who I wanted to use her in some capacity because I just thought and it was so interesting too. Speaking of childhood, it was just, she was such it's hard for me even to look at her and not think of her as this 3-year-old when I was in high school who stole the last puzzle piece and then came back and had the last puzzle piece that we were all looking for. And her name's Brack, and she's just this beautiful girl. And I just was like, oh, she'll be great for the cover, So we just took a projector and projected the title onto her face and just took a photo. It's kind of an unedited photo. So yeah,
it's perfect. We do a lot of novelists on the show. I mean, we probably had, I don't know, hundreds, 500, 600, 700 novelists on the show.
Oh, wow.
It's perfect. It looks like something that would come from Simon Schuster or Penguin Random House. It probably adds to the kind of the fabric or the character of the book. So tell us about the characters in there. There's a Daniel Smith, I believe, and some other people. Can you tease a little bit more out to us on some of these characters, flesh them out a little bit?
Yeah, Daniel, to be honest, it all started as me. I was in art history class in college, and I had a crush on this boy. And so the original, he had the same name as me. His name was John. And so the original draft, he had the same name as the gay character. But Daniel has experienced, he's kind of going off the rails a little bit. His mom has just died, and they don't know if it's a suicide or if it was an accident. And this is all honestly in the very first chapter. So there's this very, I was rereading it actually to my friend. We have this tradition of where we read aloud, and we'll lay out and tan in the sun, and I just read to her. And I was reading the book, and I was like, this is so funny. I didn't realize lately I'm very obsessed with camp. The book is very campy. It's very funny and sort of silly and whimsical and insane. I had the idea of Who Framed Roger Rabbit as a sort of aesthetic channel to go down. But the characters, Daniel he's this guy, and he's sort of this army guy, and he's, kind of a campy version of this straight guy who's just like, I'm going to do this. And then there's Zach, who's the androgynous blonde, who's sort of my stand-in, I guess, where it's the Andrzej Pajik. He's this model, this ethereal looking, is he a boy? Is he a girl? We can't quite tell just looking at him. And then there's Lucy, who is this, very softig, this woman, and she's very bored, and she's based on some people I've known in my life who just sort of are very, monotone and very bored, like kind of Margot Tenenbaum or something. And she has, she's from Lincoln, and she wanted to move to New York, and she's sort of stuck in Lincoln, and her dad has cancer. He was building this museum that's all about bugs, and it sort of had to come to a halt right before it was ready to be finished. And the museum is this big, beautiful, wild museum of all, there's the butterflies, and then there's like colony insects, and then there's arachnids, which I guess aren't really insects, but whatever. They're fun for a museum. And the only one that they need to finish is the arachnids. Anyway, they end up hiding out in this museum. And it's just, I don't know. Again, it's, a lot of what I was playing with were the ideas of art and how it fits into our world, and museums are a big part of that. So it was kind of a funny sort of toying with how a museum functions by having these people in this sort of abandoned museum, and that it's not even an art museum, it's bugs. So it was sort of this pointing towards the natural world or something like that, or looking closer at things, like just a bug and how beautiful a bug could be. And I don't know, I'm kind of I love bugs. So and then also Lucy has a grandmother who runs a taxi service, and she is this sort of chic older woman. Again, this was before Uber, so I pictured this woman running a taxi service, which is not uncommon in Nebraska. At least back in the day, there'd be these little sort of rinky-dink, taxi services for when you need a designated driver or whatever. And she's this chic older woman who I'm obsessed with that type of person, this like older woman who's just very put together and chic and fabulous and wears little cardigans. And I love that sort of idea. And I'm always thinking of the entire span of a lifetime as well. So you have this older woman, and then this child who's a toddler, and you have everybody in between. And it's just, so Eleanor is sort of this cool, she gives them rides because how are they going to get around? They wreck the car right off the bat. So she's sort of their link to the outside world, and she sort of understands what they're doing because she's, participated in the 60s revolutions and stuff like that. So, and then there's a sort of a madcap ragtag bag of weirdos that you would sort of run into in Nebraska or anywhere really. They're just American characters, I suppose.
American weirdos.
Yeah, or not even weirdos, just people. Just funny. Just
it's interesting the character peoples. Maybe that could be a title for your next book, American Weirdos. I don't know. Sounded like a good
I mean, I don't. It could be. I don't know.
You never know. So, were there any real people or events maybe from your life and your journey that you kind of put in the book, and they maybe inspired you or became characters? I know one novelist we have on the show. She puts in and kills off characters that piss her off in real life.
Well, I don't know. Well, actually, yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. The child that she accidentally, kidnaps when she steals the car. I have this nephew, and he is very. He's really unique. He's very precocious, and he just. It's hard to describe because he's almost like he was just at such a high level very, very, very early. Like he could remember things from when he was like 1, when he was like 2 or 3. And he just had this very intense memory. He learned how to speak very early. Like he was speaking full sentences by 2. He was very precocious. So he kind of crept his way into the novel. So I ended up having this young child who's very precocious. And I was like, oh, that's Landon, my nephew. It was kind of funny because I sort of watched him grow up, and sort of, I like to think I helped, where I could. I was sort of the third parent for Landon when I was here in Nebraska. And he was just so funny and strange. And it's just, I love the mind of a child because they're so open and they really believe in this magic. And I was trying to tap into that with the book, where she, for a moment, she sort of convinces him that she really is from another world or something like that. And she builds this kind of fantasy, which children really do sort of buy into, which I love. So I'm always trying to tap into that. I've been told I'm very, very childlike. I mean, Humphrey magazine is very child. That's my other project, of course, and it's very childlike. And
tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Oh, Humphrey. The fantasy is that Humphrey started his own magazine. He's my cat. Actually, I have one of the editors right here. So all the editors are puppets. I wasn't even planning on bringing him on the show. So this is one of the puppets. He's our literature editor. He's like,
now, Is that Humphrey or is Humphrey
No,
one of
this
them?
is Cowboy. He's Cowboy Book.
Oh,
Humphrey's my cat. Humphrey's my
that's
cat.
right.
He started the magazine, and all the editors are puppets. And that's Cowboy. He is the literature editor. He's Southern. And then we have Auntie for fashion and the Art Fart for art. So yeah. And then each physical issue, I'm really focused on print because I love print. I'm like, bring back print. I love print.
Yeah.
Is very focused on like a theme. So our upcoming theme is fake. But we've done fame, luxury, and body. So this will be issue number 4 that I'm working on. Yeah.
There you go. So you have 4 issues out now with the magazine.
Well, I'm almost done with 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can people subscribe to it or, get it?
It's kind of, the next issue is, supposed to be in Barnes and Noble. So hopefully that works out. It is available on my website. It's on humphrey.magazine.com. I'm kind of focusing it as more of like each one is an individual sort of art object, kind of like Toilet Paper Magazine, which I'm a big. It's kind of an insane magazine, if you know, you know. But they don't really. It's just like each one is almost like a collector's item or something. So I'm kind of thinking of doing it that way.
So you don't flush it when you're done. Then.
No, I mean that's part of the show. Yeah,
I was thinking Toilet Paper Magazine in my joke, and I'm like, so do you read it and then you use the pages for toilet paper?
They would love that, honestly. They love that. But I mean, honestly, like a lot of advertising now is sort of inspired by toilet paper. It's a very influential magazine within like the art and fashion world. Yeah,
there you go.
Look it up. It's very cool.
Okay, our art and fashion, very cool. So if you could leave people that read your work with one message, what would it be?
Oh gosh, I guess what I would say is, that I always say I'm very serious about being silly. So I always say, if you're going to take something away, it's that play and playfulness and whimsy are important and that we need it. And frivolity is not actually that frivolous, like I love the idea of, we sometimes, and then that's what the whole book is about, really. It's about yearning for beauty in a place that is very empty and very almost like a blank page. So it's kind of like, yeah, be serious about being silly. Have fun. Have fun. Experience joy where you can, because that's all there really is. That's, I guess that I hope maybe, that's what.
Certainly beats depression and darkness and stuff. But I mean, people like that.
Right. Just be whimsical, be crazy.
Yeah. Enjoy life. Take some time to look
around. Do
something
something crazy. Yeah. Be silly. Paint your face blue. I don't care.
Sometimes I drink water and I put some Mio in it. I like living on the edge. I put that, put the flavoring in there. And it's got some caffeine in it. Boy, I'm on the edge right there. That's.
I mean, you're really playing with fire.
I'm pushing it. Yeah, pushing it. I'm 57. You gotta watch what you push in this.
Oh, you don't look a day over 56.
Oh, well, God bless you. What was the other question I had for you here? So, what are you reading now? What books do you like to read? What do you enjoy?
Oh gosh. I'm not a big fan of what I'm reading right now, but you're
reading something you really hate?
I mean, honestly, I have it right here. It's called Little Man, What Now? And it's this very, it's a cute, here, I have it. This is the cover. My friend gave it to me, and it's actually, I believe it was published in Germany during the Nazi regime. So you have these Nazis that are characters, and it's kind of like they're just living. It's just a man and a wife trying to get by and watching it's kind of pre-Nazi era. So it's, the look before, one of the main causes of Nazism was the economic downfall of Germany. People were starving. So that's kind of what the book is about, is this couple sort of caught in this downward spiral of the economy, and it kind of sucks. But it's very cheerful and funny at the same time. It's kind of a funny book. I don't go in for, I don't love dipping into I've definitely put a moratorium on like Nazi literature, because I'm just like, I don't want to read about it. I'm sick of it. I get it. I get what happened. But this is a very strange book from within that time period. Very, very interesting. But usually I'm very snobbish about what I read, honestly. But I guess I follow literary worlds or something. I was really into Katie Kitamura recently, who wrote Audition. I might write a review for that for Humphrey. Who else was it? I want to say Hari Kunzru is a genius. I mean, he's absolutely insane. I can't even get over. He's become he's probably one of the most important novelists living today. Him and probably Zadie Smith, and they're both British. So he's a genius. He just wrote Blue Ruin, which was a really great read of the art world. Absolutely incredible book. And then White Tears, of course, which was, in my opinion, should be required reading for everybody. Like, you should read White Tears. It's really amazing. It's a very good, it's kind of like the last word on race relations in the United States. And it's written by a British Indian man, like absolutely incredible. And it's from the angle of blues music, which is a really great angle to approach the slave narrative of, the Black experience in the United States, and then the white appropriation thereof. It's incredible. So it's a really, really beautiful, incredible book that starts out and is very much about music. Amazing book. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, I'm always reading stuff these days because of Humphrey. So, me and Cowboy, we've got to read our books. So
you got to stay up on the books.
Yes, because I have to write all my book reviews, even though it's my least favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Well, books on Nazis. That's so 2025 right now.
Well, it's not even, but that's the thing, is it's not about Nazis. It's just from the era. Yeah.
From the era.
So there's just casually Nazi characters because it's written during that period. It was published in like 1915 or something like that, or 1920 in Germany. So it's like, there's just casually mention of Nazis. I don't think they knew what was coming quite yet. So it was like, it's really, this classic 1933 novel provides a vivid picture of life in Germany just before Hitler's takeover. Yeah. It's like right before it all hit the fan. So it's like, the Nazi party and the Communist party and like blah, blah, blah. It's weird. It's a weird little book. My friend gave it to me. She's like, it's kind of funny and sweet, actually. It's a sweet, it's just about survival.
I should read it and figure out what 2026 is going to be like. Anyway, I'm just kidding. It's a weird time right now.
It's honestly kind of similar, where it's like, you have an economic spiral, and people are just trying to survive. So there
you go. Last question. Why do you feel art is connected to chaos? Or do you feel that way? The PR company sent me that question for you, so I'm not sure if it's set up.
No, yeah, I remember that question, art and chaos. I think anyone who is an artist is a little chaotic, and there's a sort of you're touched into something that is a little crazy. I think art almost encourages a little bit of letting go of control in order to be in touch with the muse, so you're just kind of like almost at the mercy of something beyond you. So whether we want to call that chaos or the muse or nature or something, I've been thinking a lot about order and chaos, because what is chaos? Chaos is kind of just the natural world, entropy. Things are always trying to tear things apart. And that's what artists do. They sort of look at something and they frame it in a way that makes you tear it apart or think about it in a new way or look at it from a new angle. And they're sort of looking at the world we live in and saying, well, what is this world and why is it the way it is? And with that comes a little bit of chaos, a little bit of, when you start to rip the seams apart on the world, Pandora's box happens, and that's how it is. So I guess that's a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. All art imitates life, and that's kind of how life is. There's a lot of chaos going on.
Yeah, I mean, really, life is chaos, ultimately.
You should see my bank account.
It's hard to keep it together. It's hard.
Joke kind of fell flat, didn't it? You should see my negative bank account. Maybe it's funnier if I say negative bank account. There you go. I think that works. Anyway, so give us your final pitch out. Tell people where they can order the book, where they can get to know your magazine, better.coms, and all that good stuff.
Well, the book is very easy to find. It's on Amazon and everything. You can just Google The Color Cult or my name. The magazine, Humphrey Magazine, is also very easy to find if you just Google it or go to humphrymagazine.com. I'm also very easy to find. And that's pretty much it. So my Instagram is Madam Starlight. That's my drag name. So yeah.
There you go. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you coming and sharing the story, and we'll look forward to your next book, John.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. And thanks, Ron, for tuning in. Pick up the book wherever fine books are sold, The Color Cult, out August 29th, 2024. Thanks, Myers, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one of the TikTok, any of those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that's